Good Fed day, everybody. Hi, Bran. D. Rooney, nice to meet you. Also, Jose. Welcome to F.A.C.E. And good Fed day, everybody.
Good early morning, Dale.
Hi, how are you?
Very good, thank you. Yourself?
Is it Friday?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so
And it's Fat Day today. It's not Fed Day, it's Fat Day today. Sounds a bit similar.
Oh, okay.
So we can eat more.
Oh, yeah. It's one of my favorite things to do. So, you know how you could tell the difference between younger guys and say 40-year-old guys that go into a bar? The 40-year-old guys ask for a menu first. Right. I mean, when we were younger, did we care about the menu? Right. So anyway, dollar off a little bit. Something I have noticed is that US dollar yen seems to be giving it back easier. It's almost like the pattern in the yen is weaker than the pattern in the dollar. Just an observation. So here's the yen. Look how deep this is. And then you look at the dollar, see, still above this low that the yen took out. So I just look at it's not a trade, but it gives me biases and relative strength and preferred longs and shorts. So if we do get a pop in the yen on the Fed, it would almost be my preferred short. But you never know. We could still rally up towards 150.
Yeah,
so,
you have
right?
the whole Japanese official dome behind you. They are trying to guide it, right?
Are they in every day?
Well, mostly. Yesterday they were probably there. Suzuki didn't say as much, but there's been an absolute avalanche of comments overnight again. So they are really trying to guide it for now. So yeah.
Are they putting their money where their mouth is still every day?
Every day, I wouldn't say, but at least comments wise, yes. But I think yesterday the 148 or the day before the 148 3/4 they were there. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, their biggest battle is probably coming in the next 24 or 48 hours, right? If the dollar strengthens on what the Fed says is the presser.
Yeah, 48, I would say. Take the labor report with it.
Yeah. That may be a bigger that might be a bigger day than the Fed.
I think
Fridays.
So. I think so. I think Friday could be a much bigger day.
Maybe the Fed will not commit to only raising by a half a point, which markets will think is bearish. And maybe we finally get a weaker than expected NFP, at least on hourly wages. So to try and take something out of there that then will make the people after the, reacted to him not committing to only raising 50%. Then you get a weak number and they'll say, well, he didn't know that. So maybe it's only going to be half a percent in December.
Yeah, I think indeed Friday is going to be much more important. Of course, the Fed is important, but Friday is going to be a bigger guidance than possibly today.
Okay. Don't forget, 12 minutes. We've got ADP. Ryan. Morning, Dale. We've got ADP in 12 minutes. So.
Okay, cool.
That could be nearly as big as the NFP.
There's nothing, the Aussie looks just like consolidation to me, Ryan. I mean, the way it's coming off is, not the kind of thing where it comes off and then really gives it all up. It's probably only from here to here. I didn't do the fibs, but Blake always says that the smaller the retracement, the more bullish it is. And I'm just eyeballing, guessing this is only 38%, maybe. So even if it came off again and grinded to 3.5 or so, it's looking good. I think the commodity currencies, I wanted to sell CAD. It's probably a big ask, up here, maybe 38 for a right shoulder.
Yeah.
We'll see. Anything can happen. I think something to really pay attention to is what happens to yields after the presser. I could see Stell's case of another high, 450, but I could also see the potential of a failing rally. Maybe back towards 418, 420, and then start doing this again. So probably.
I'm looking for. I'm in the bearish dollar camp, so I'm looking for decent levels to sell more dollar yen, maybe break trade the Aussie dollar higher, and see if we get a moves in some of the other pairs like euro dollar.
Okay, so Dixie should have trouble. I was figuring up here around 111.70, I think 112. So that's like a 100-point move. So would you buy a break in euro then, or cable on the Fed, 98-ish?
What breakdown? I'm being really picky. I'm parking my buses, down at the 97, so it's going to take a real something to get us down there. But I think the short term, you're probably looking 98s down below 101s above from where we are now. If we don't get anything game changing, but it's a little bit hawkish, a little bit dovish, however you pick it. Those are levels you want to be looking at for the euro, 98s and 101s maybe.
How about cable? It has a stronger chart pattern than euro.
Yeah, cable, I'm probably 110, 120 the way it moves.
Okay.
You can drive a bus through that quote.
So just a little jiggle down to 110 down here. Okay.
Yeah, a little quick move.
Is silver and gold really going to break down? Coming into this week, I thought there was a pretty good chance. I guess today will be the day here. If you didn't have a bias thinking that we were going lower and you just covered up the title, the chart doesn't look bad. Silver either, and the gold silver ratio has been declining pretty good on its way to making a new low possibly. But everything's a coin toss until for about 4 or 5 hours from now.
You are taking a bet. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you're right about the gold and silver. I still think that the most likely scenario is we break down because the Fed is going to be not
mean.
dovish, but mean. Yeah. Again, I could be wrong, and I already know what I want to do. So if Powell is dovish in any way, and I know it's difficult to quantify dovish, but for me, anything other than what he's been telling us so far is going to be on the dovish side. Now, how dovish it will depend on what he says. But if he is dovish, I'm just going to close my eyes, buy silver and platinum wherever they're trading, not full size, but I'm going to be accumulating. If he's not dovish, if he's hawkish, then I think gold is going to break the 16, 14 lows. Probably not in a day, but we'll probably get very close to that initially. And I think that's going to be a good risk reward short when that breaks. Or if you want to anticipate it, like I did with the 1685. Remember that break?
Yeah.
I might try that again on the short side. So as long as you have an idea of what you want to be doing on either scenario, I think if he's hawkish, selling 10-year treasuries, I think is probably the right trade, because I think we are going to get a new high. So have a few ideas on what you want to do on both sides, and look at what's moving and how it's moving. And like you say always, Dale, sell relative weakness, buy relative strength, and have 2 or 3 alternatives in your plan and execute the one that looks best at the time.
Can I just add something to that, Stel? Because you make a good point. Okay.
Go on.
You said you know what you're doing going into it, and I think for traders that's important. If you get yourself 5-10 minutes before the Fed, and you're sitting looking at the screen thinking, what do I do? What do I need to do? You should be sitting on your hands. By now you should have your plans. You should have your levels. You should know where you want to trade.
Wait.
Whoa. He's the boss.
Wait. Ryan, you said they should, but they don't, and that's why they're here.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But that's why we have to reinforce the point. If you're going into the Fed and you don't know what to do, you should be sitting on your hands. You don't want to be playing.
You know what? Let's help everybody get prepared. But you said something really important. And good morning, everybody. By the way, happy let's get humping day, right? Or is it FOMC day? Oh, forget it.
There a while.
What's that?
You can tell Steve's been there a while. He's rubbing off on you now.
Steve is still visiting. He's sitting next to me, and I want to say good morning. We do have the ADP, and that's something that you did bring up. And you know what? I'm leaning towards dollar. I'll just throw this out there. I'm leaning towards dollar weakness today. Just in the expectations that the Fed might shift gears just a bit. The reason being is that we can only accelerate at this pace of hikes for so long before the Fed does break something. So my anticipation is they may not be like giving us the quote unquote some magical pivot that everybody's expecting. But I think the rhetoric may be toned down just a bit. What I'm hoping for today is I'm hoping that we get actually a relatively strong ADP report, and that actually allows the dollar to bounce a little bit, and I might actually sell a little dollars into any type of rally. Which Dale, you brought it up, and I'm going to show you my favorite setup at the moment.
Peso,
huh?
And with the dollar kind of not doing much, USD MEX has been weak.
Yeah, well, the dollar MEX has been my favorite setup for the last couple of weeks. I was actually just short last night. I closed it last night, so I didn't, before we went out to dinner and did what we were going to do over here.
That's a nice look.
But yeah, I mean, the Aussie, look, that's a bull flag pattern. That's an inverted head and shoulder pattern. That's anything you want it to look like. So if we get and you said it earlier this morning, Dale, this is the Aussie dollar. It is a 38% retracement. Just eyeballing it, your eyeballs actually work even at your dinosaur type of age. Just kidding. No,
we could see
little
bugs.
It's really just a shallow retracement, as you pointed out. Shallow retracement is usually a very bullish setup here. So I'm just hoping that we get a little dip down towards 63.80 today, ahead of the Fed. And if we get some sort of stronger number here in the next 3 minutes, maybe that does pull the Aussie dollar down just a bit. I'd be a little reluctant or a little hesitant, to play it to the upside, on weak data. I'm just going to have to play a more momentum type, base type of trade, this way, as a bull flag pattern, tries to complete. If we do get a kind of pivoting FOMC. But what do you guys think about? Well, first of all, before we talk about the Fed and expectations here, and really, I'd love to hear everybody's best setup. We do have to cover the ADP data. So, and one of the things that I just want to reinforce this. If you guys are not in the ForexAnalytix community, and you're looking for setups, that's all we do here. I mean, we talk here. This is the trades room, so we're talking about what trades we're in. You can see I closed out the dollar Mexican peso last night on my short, which obviously right now it's hitting new lows. I should have just stayed short, but it is FOMC. But here's like our general chat room, and these are all charts and setups that we're all looking at, and everything. So if you guys are running around, like Ryan said, without a plan, be in a community where you do have a plan and you can formulate a plan. So make sure you check out, ForexAnalytix and what we do here and inside of our community. But again, this is one of my favorite setups. We got about 30 seconds to the data. What are we looking for? Anybody looking for some stronger data today with the employment?
Well, we're expecting a small slowdown from last month, but I don't know. It's a tough one to call. But if you ask me, I probably think we may miss by a little bit. But I don't know. It's just too. This number is too volatile.
It is very volatile.
Okay, here we go.
Ryan, you have any? Oops.
Oh, 239. So that's a beat.
So that's a beat. Look,
Wow.
it's exactly what we want to see. We wanted to see a little bit of dollar. I'm just hoping we get a little bit more dollar strength than what you're seeing here. I'm hoping we see, let's get that Aussie dollar down to maybe that 64-cent level, maybe 63.80. But this is the kind of stuff we want to see. We want to see a little bit stronger dollar reaction with this good data. You got pairs like, let's just take a real quick look, and then we're going to go into some expectations from you guys. So we've got the Aussie dollar dipping a little bit. I want to see it dip down below 64 cents. Let's get the Aussie dollar to get a dip a little bit further. The Aussie isn't really a good player, but
you're worse than Gregor. Everyone wants it lower.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'd love to see if you're an Aussie bull, or you're like, let's say you're a sterling bull, which I tweeted this out a little bit earlier. This is a great bull flag pattern. That's a perfect bullish setup right here in the Aussie. Or did I? Maybe I was just talking in the community. I can't remember if I tweeted it or sometimes I tweet things, but more than likely I just posted in the chat room. Anyway, but look at this bullish setup with the sterling. I mean, that is a really nice setup. So, instead of chasing it higher, you want to buy dips into the 38% retracement. So this way you have a great managed risk reward going into the FOMC. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're going to be talking about all this in the morning edge in about we start in an hour from now. So let's go around the horn. Kman, I heard you a little bit earlier. Didn't hear a lot of what you had to say, just because Steve's been yammering his right next to me, and so when he talks, I can't hear anything else. Just kidding, Steve. He's actually he's here right next to me. Anyway, as far as today's FOMC expectations, what are your expectations going in today, Kman?
I think they stay the course. 75 QT autopilot for now. I already in the last statement Powell was saying that they would be data dependent. So I think it's just going to be a no change. What I would like in the press conference afterwards is that somebody asked him if he wants to comment on what Yellen said about the risks in the treasury market liquidity, and that may be a bit of a kicker. But all in all, I expect them to just continue, not giving too many hints, although it's not going to be 75 all the time, so he may just say that. And as I was saying earlier, and with Dale, is that I think at the end of the week, jobs report may be more important than the FOMC today.
Okay, well, and that's going to be Friday for everybody that's not paying really close attention. But how about Ryan, I'm going to ask you about the BOE expectations too. But before I do that, hey man, what's your favorite setup for today? What would you like to see? What would you like to play? And what are you looking for?
Okay, if he goes looking at what happened in the dollar yen the past few days, and what they are saying, what they are effectively, I think, also doing is to try to buy time by doing stealth interventions until the dollar turns. I think if we get a dovish surprise, dollar yen may actually be the fastest to go down this time, and I'll be paying very close attention to what happens anywhere between 145.5 and 144.75 if we get down there. Fundamentals may not be in favor of the yen, but what MOF and Bank of Japan are doing lately, showing signs of wanting to put a top in place, at least for now. And if we get a hawkish surprise, if the dollar goes stronger versus most things, I think that yen crosses. And that's my secondary watch. Yen crosses may be in for a rough day today. A rough day,
huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right.
I'm not a big fan
So
of the
you,
euro.
so you
And I
basically
think
you're trying to play the yen long, no matter what, basically.
because I think dollar yen will be a laggard if the dollar strengthens today.
Interesting.
Concur.
At least today.
Look at the chart patterns. It shows it. I showed it earlier. Is that why I came in?
Yeah, not so much the Kiwi yen, but I think sterling yen is a candidate combination. FOMC, Bank of England, because there's still a risk that Bank of England undershoots.
Okay, don't steal Ryan's thunder.
No, but you asked me for my view, and I give.
I know. No, that's a good
what
setup,
I'm
Ryan. You're gonna have to pick something else, buddy.
If
All right.
If the dollar really shows a strength, I think the cleanest shirt will still be euro short.
Got it. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Let's take a look at let's take a gander of what Ryan has to say. So Ryan, what's your opinion going into today? What are your expectations with the FOMC?
Well, as I say, I'm biased short dollar, so I'm going to be looking to add to dollar yen shorts anywhere up above 148s, 149s to sit on for a while longer. I don't see the Fed being forced to turn any more hawkish than they are now, i.e. where their rate ceiling is. The data is turning. There's still parts that still got to come, jobs, etc. But yeah, I'm already positioned. I'm short dollar yen. I'm long Aussie dollar. Euro, I'll be looking at down towards those lows if it's really, really hawkish. We get down to sort of 96s, 95s. That'll be the real big test. But otherwise, yeah, I'm going to be looking to add to my short dollar position.
Okay, so you're looking to add to short dollar positions. What are your expectations of the Bank of England tomorrow? I mean, because we're by the time we're here. Time change always screws me up. Tomorrow is the Bank of England while we're broadcasting. Just before we broadcast, I should take a look.
Yeah,
I think it is going to be right tomorrow while we're here. Oh, it'll be the actual rate statement will happen just as we start broadcasting. So just keep that in mind. So what do you think with the BOE tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it's one of these ones that's really binary. I mean, we don't know what they're going to do. Are they going to go 75? Are they going to go 100? Could they even go 50? Such a mess of it all. It really is a big coin toss on this one. I probably won't touch cable. I'll probably more look at euro sterling. If we get a move down to the 85, low 85s. That's when I might be looking to start hoovering some up in euro sterling.
You would start looking for longs. I mean, the 85.42 level is the 78% retracement. And if it got down to 85 cents or 85 pence, excuse me, it would be the bottom of this wedge, which to me it'd be a great place to pick up longs. So I like your idea here. Thanks, Ryan.
Ryan's in the zone.
He is. He's totally in his zone. Before we get into what you think, Dale, and what Stelios thinks, I want to point out just a couple of.
I'm just a blind squirrel in the middle of a snow-covered forest.
Hey,
looking for a few nuts.
As long as you can get a nut and not take any of D's nuts over here, that's fine. So I wanted to show you guys copper. Copper's got a nice. This is a really big consolidation. Which, by the way, I think this is one of those that if you trade copper in any way, shape, or form, this is a really bearish setup. I mean, it's a bearish pennant, developing. Should be a continuation pattern. We should eventually break down that. I mean, there's a higher percentage risk of a breakdown at this point, is what I'm trying to say at 5 o'clock in the morning. If you look at gold, gold's got this great inverted head and shoulder pattern. I think that's a really nice setup, especially if we see dollar weakness today. If
gold and Aussie.
Yeah, and you see the Aussie rally. If you don't want to play the Aussie and you want to play gold, you like the leverage play, and gold's a little bit better. I mean, the neckline comes in right around here, around the 1670 level, and then we'd get a pretty massive move if we did a reversal. So I think gold's a decent setup. Also, if you take a look at the SPOs, you know, we're going into year end. You know, we're the last 2 months out of the year. We still have a bear market. You know, we have this descending channel, very easy to follow. I think the market was getting aggressively short, which caused a false breakdown down here, you know, below 35,000, or I say 35,000, below 3,500, excuse me. And you know, that could get us back to the 200-day moving average going into year end. So, you know, with that false breakdown, but a lot has to happen to get the S&P up there. I mean, you know, we really have to see data starting to deteriorate. Also, I got Steve next to me, and we got to hear his opinion. So, Stelios, what's your favorite setup here?
Well, as I said before, if the Fed is not hawkish, or basically if they change any way to the dovish side, I'm going to be buying silver and platinum. If not, if they're hawkish, I'm going to be probably selling gold, depending on how it moves towards those lows, and treasuries and the S&P. I mean, one of those three, depending on price action, but I'm going to be selling one of those.
Oh, okay. All right. That fair enough. And I mean, yields may be peaking here. Hey, D writes in and says D says my nuts are not available. So if you want D's nuts, these nuts are not available. Okay. It's funny, right? I always try to give my I was like, every time I get we're on like a road trip, and you know, I always snack because I'm driving, and I grab a bunch of nuts at the gas stations wherever we go. I always ask my kids, I'm like, hey man, you guys want these nuts? And then they laugh. They always giggle up until they turn into teenagers.
I'm addicted to pistachio nuts.
Me too. Hey,
oh, yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Steve, what are your thoughts here?
Hey,
Ghostbuster.
I can't hear you. No. Oh, here.
Oh, the ghost.
hey,
Yes.
hey, Dale.
Hey, buddy.
Okay, a couple of things. First of all, I will have to agree with Kman having to do with a possible outcome that would be dollar negative. I think USD yen can be one of the best candidates. On the other hand, I have to agree with Stelios having to do with the best candidates in case.
Can't hear you, Steve.
You can hear me?
Very
Very
soft.
quiet.
Okay, what about now?
Yeah, talk up a little.
Now?
Bit better.
A bit better.
Yeah,
Okay.
now it's better. Now it's better.
Okay, so I said I have to agree with Kman, having to do with USD yen being the best candidate in case we get a dollar negative outcome. So obviously, you know, some kind of, dollar positive, I meant some kind of an outcome that, in my opinion, is, first of all, let me take it from start. Sorry. I said that I agree with Stelios in case we get dollar positive outcome, meaning I think that gold and silver are the most sensitive, right? I think they're going to move even more if we get something dovish. Now, I wanted to warn about one thing. The market is not expecting 75 basis points to keep coming, meeting after meeting after meeting, right? People should remember that. So the Fed and Powell being hawkish, but just hinting that the path of interest rate rises might slow down is absolutely normal. And I think that if we get an initial reaction higher to the dollar and lower in equities, if the market just, or don't forget we have algos as well, just clings on something like, you know, we might start slowing down interest rate hikes, I think that might be an opportunity to go to the other side, meaning sell indices and buy the dollar, right? There is nobody that expects the Fed to hike another 5% next year. They probably should if inflation doesn't do anything, but they won't. And the market isn't expecting it, right? Now, I will also agree with Kman that USD yen, especially with the BOJ intervening stealthily, will do best to the downside, meaning the yen will strengthen if the dollar actually weakens. So that's my outlook.
Very good, Steve. And I'm going to take back the mic really quick. And thank you, Steve. Dale, I know we've got just a moment before before your guest
Dana,
comes
if you're
in.
here, let me know so I don't have to become Forex guest hunter.
Forex guest hunter. That's funny. So Dale, what are your thoughts here going into the Fed? I mean, what are you thinking? And by the way, did we just have data come out?
I'm with Brian. You know, I think the pattern's weaker in US dollar yen than in Dixie. So
are you looking? And you don't always just trade FX. You know, I predominantly trade FX, but you tend to dip your toes in a lot of different things, Dale. So is there anything else that is outside the Forex realm that you might be trading?
Yeah, I really like the grain complex, and you can't eat gold. And even though wheat is selling off, and it's possible that maybe that was a false start. They're acting like they have an agreement there, so it's into the gap.
That was the Russian grain corridor thing that got resolved today.
But I've been researching it, and the grain in the silos have been sitting there for 6 months in the Ukraine and degrading. Some of it may not even be fit for human consumption. And so I've been digging into the supply demand situation, and we know demand, people want to eat, but supply and yields and weather, and then you have shipping, you know, you have the logistics, supply chain, Mississippi River, they move a lot of grain up and down that river. So there's so many bullish fundamentals it would take an hour. You got trade the charts. Actually, the beans look even better, and I think that we're going to retest and take out the invasion highs across the grain complex.
Got it. All right. Well, that's cool.
That's
you know, really quick, I was just going to say that I don't see Dana. I was looking around to see if Dana Lyons is here, and Dana, if you are here, let us know. And you know, since it doesn't seem like he's here just
and a weaker
yet,
dollar would not hurt any commodity market.
No, a weaker dollar would help the entire market. I mean, you know, let's just call a spade, right?
And it would help the third world countries, Blake, because you know, Sri Lanka, Sudan, Yemen, they, you know, their currencies have been obliterated.
Right.
So it's even more expensive for them, and they can least afford it.
You know, somebody had mentioned the pound, and this is currency related. Somebody jumped in and said, "Hey, Steve was talking about the pound Kiwi head and shoulder pattern." This is something. If you guys are sterling bears, like, well, let's say you're a stock market bull, okay, and you believe that equities are going to continue to rally into year end, and maybe the Fed tips their hand a little bit and does put a bit of a bid in equities going into the last couple of months. This pound Kiwi could be a nice head and shoulder pattern setup. I like this on a bullish stock market outcome today. I have a little bit of a difficult time shorting the Kiwi or shorting the sterling, but I don't have a hard time buying Kiwis. So, if you want to remove the dollar out of the equation and just because the dollar is maybe more of a wild card to you, the pound Kiwi might be a good short. It's a nice head and shoulder pattern setup. It's very, very symmetrical, and you can't ask for much more than that when you're talking about setups. Hey, Kman, you still here?
I'm extremely here.
Okay, you're extremely here. That's one thing about being in a holding pattern ahead of the Fed is us traders don't really have a whole lot to do right at this very moment. But I do love the US dollar Norwegian krone. I know you and I trade this pretty actively, and I know Stelios does as well. I don't know if Stella's still here, but we had a bearish wedge breakdown, and we've pivoted off the breakdown point perfectly.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you draw a parallel there, you could see it could be flagging still.
Yeah.
But it's pretty. It's not a perfect parallel. It could be flagging still with the underside around 10.15, whatever, and then we have like a big level around the 10.03, 10.04 there. It's sitting up to be pretty interesting, and I must say that I thought Norwegian krona would suffer a bit more on the Norges Bank Norwegian krona sales every day, but forces to admit that this thing Norwegian krona is actually behaving pretty well.
Yeah, I think it is too. Well, if you look at crude and let's just I think Biden's going to be kind of wrong-footed here.
Profit tax.
Yeah, it's hey, look, crude
Yeah.
looks bullish, and we get above 90, and crude's probably going to see much higher levels. I would venture to guess that this is going to be some sort of A, B, C, D equal leg type of move.
And there's some action in the Middle East, Blake. I feel like a reporter,
Yeah, I mean, hey, I mean,
I used to
why
be
can't,
all
why can't we see
charts.
100? I think there's a whole lot of reasons we could see 100,
Yeah,
right?
some stuff going on with Iran. We've given up on getting that treaty going again. So there's a lot that could go wrong there in the Middle East right now.
So yeah, I think so too. Well, I don't think we've seen Dana just yet.
No,
so hey, Steve,
I'll have to reschedule him.
No, that's fine. Since Steve is sitting next to me, Steve, do you want to continue to elaborate a little bit on some other FOMC thoughts? I know it's a little jarring in the morning. Steve. I like Steve comes down here and he's just like, whoa.
Yeah, Steve, how do you like Blake and I our hours?
They're quite interesting, I have to say.
Interesting. May you live in interesting times. May you work in interesting hours. Yeah.
You know something. Sleeping habit is a matter of habit, right?
Yeah.
So you can adapt to any kind of schedule. Obviously, if you wake up this early in the day, you have to sleep midday, which I haven't done yet. Well, that's why I'm exhausted, because I haven't got used to it. And obviously, you need to sleep early at night. Other than that, it's fine.
Yeah, it kills your social life, unless you're young, like Blake still has one going. But anyway,
it definitely limits it.
Yeah, you're not going out to sing karaoke at 9 o'clock at night. So anyway, Steve. And any last words before the Fed? Blake, you
can
and
see
Steve,
your screen, by the way. There you go.
You guys are having a special session for the Fed.
Are we?
Blake? Yeah.
Blake, are you?
Yes.
Or shouldn't I have brought it up?
Well, no, they probably can't hear me. It's for the ForexAnalytix subscribers, and Steve is here. We're gonna fire up a meeting through the FOMC.
Okay.
So anybody who's part of ForexAnalytix will be that's part of our is a subscriber. They'll be able to log in and listen in.
So bottom line, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Good luck.
We've never done that for the FOMC. Usually we're just in the chat room, but we're gonna do it.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna be here.
Doing a Zoom.
We're gonna do a Zoom. Yes.
Okay. All right, so another advantage of being a member during live, really important times when experience does matter. So I guess, should we wrap it for the day, gentlemen? Forex guest hunter could not find the prey.
That's okay.
That's okay. It happens on occasion.
I
mean, we have so many interviews, statistically speaking. Some of them will, something will happen. A guest will sleep longer or whatever.
Oh, it hardly happens. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more.
Yeah,
anyway, people like to come here.
It's because people love you and they really want to be here.
People like talking to our community and the visibility they get, and they have fun. So
they do.
All right, guys. Why don't you guys try and take a nap now, Steve, if you can. Stop drinking espresso. And Stell and Ryan and Kman. Thank you guys for your input.
Have a great day,
thinking about be thinking about you guys if I get the opportunity to join you on the yen.
Hey, can I just point out really quick, if you're looking at
Sure.
like the dashboard on ForexAnalytix, look at how many neutral signals there are in
That's a lot.
the there's quite a bit, especially if you start looking through the majors
Yellow.
and everything.
Yeah.
A lot of indecision here, which is good. I like it because we're getting a lot of volatility in the markets, which is great. Speaking of which, if you want volatility, make sure you jump in the trader funding program, because with volatility comes, great opportunity, especially as a trader. And if you want to learn how to trade our money and not your own money, you don't want to risk your own money, or let's say you just don't have access to larger trading accounts, this might be the way you can change your life as a trader. So check out this 2-minute video right on the Trader Funding Program website. I'll go ahead and post the link in chat if you guys don't know how to get there, and you guys can check it out yourself, because it is really a great way to learn how to, like I said, learn how to trade our money and have access to larger amounts of capital, especially in a volatile period. And this way you can be part of the ForexAnalytix for community for free for a period of time. So Dale, good luck today. Gents, team, good luck.
Blake, you've become the master of the segue.
Hey, I'm
You got it, man.
I'm
got it down now.
It's only taken me 6 years to figure that one out.
It's natural, just flows like water. All right, anyway, guys, good luck to everyone. Remember this, keep this in mind. The markets will be here tomorrow. It's okay to do nothing if there's not a setup. So the markets will be here. Make sure your equity is. And with that, adios, everyone. Don't just count your pips, count your blessings, and good hunting. See everyone tomorrow. All right, that's a wrap. Thank you.